The elements nitrogen and hydrogen form a compound. Which of the following claims is most likely true? And then we have like A through D. Would the bond between N and H be ionic? Would the bond between N and H be metallic? Are the electrons equally shared between nitrogen and hydrogen? Or does the nitrogen atom have a partial negative charge? Okay, so we're just talking about basically a nitrogen and a hydrogen bond. Now, it does not matter if we can draw the correct Lewis structure or, any type of structure for this. We're just talking about the properties between nitrogen and hydrogen. Now, the first thing that I would do is I would put nitrogen and hydrogen into their non-metal, metal, and metalloid categories, right? Knowing where they are on the periodic table, and that should be the review for this. Chemistry is cumulative. Yay. So nitrogen is on the right side of the periodic table. That's a non-metal. Hydrogen, even though it's on the left side of the periodic table, that's the only exception. Hydrogen is also a non-metal. So you say to yourself, okay, I have two nonmetals coming together. What type of bond is that? Yeah, those are covalent bonds. So, for example, the bond between N and H is ionic. Ionic generally is used for a metal plus a nonmetal. And since nitrogen and hydrogen are both nonmetals, it's not the ionic bond, it's the covalent bond. So that gets rid of this one. The second answer choice, the bond between nitrogen and H, is metallic. Literally, the word metal is in here. If you have a metallic bond, you just have a single metal. For example, it would just be a block of iron or a block of copper. But we don't even have a metal here. So right off the bat, by just knowing that it's a covalent bond, you're down to 50-50. But now let's see what they're asking for. They're saying, well, are the electrons shared equally? Or does nitrogen have the partial negative? Okay. Now, if we're talking about covalent bonds, just know that we have partial charges. If we do, right? We don't have direct charges because that's the ionic bonds. But just know that there's two different types of covalent bonds. There's nonpolar, and then there's polar bonds. Polar bonds are the ones that have the poling, where one of the elements are greedy in their bond, and they are more attractive to the electrons in the bond. And one of the atoms would pull the electrons more closer to it. So the electrons would be more closer to the greedy atom, and the other atom is like, what happened? But the greedy one doesn't care. That's what a polar bond is. Nonpolar basically means that there's no pull. We just have to figure out which one is this one. Well, you could think of the mnemonic SNAP. S-N-A-P. Now this is a general mnemonic. Might not work every single time, but if you have different ends of the periodic table, chances are it will work. What this mnemonic SNAP means is that if you have symmetrical, aka the same elements between the bond, that bond would be non-polar. And that kind of makes sense, right? If you have the same elements, there's no win, right? There's no pull. The electrons would be split evenly right down the middle. But if you have asymmetrical elements, which means that you just have different elements, that means that you would have a polar bond. And that means that one of them would have the pull. One of them would be greedy and share the electrons. Push the electrons to one side, whether it's nitrogen or hydrogen. And since we have different elements here, and they're pretty far away from the periodic table, we can use this mnemonic. We have different elements, so this bond would generally be polar. Okay, so let's see. The electrons are shared equally. That means that there would be no pull. And the no pull, no greediness, that would be non-polar. But we just said, according to Snap, since the atoms are different, there would be a pull. It should be a polar bond, which makes this incorrect. And by, process of elimination, D has to be correct. But I'll show you why this is correct. That the nitrogen has the partial negative charge. Once again, if you see the word partial, that is for covalent bonds. And that checks out, right? Because we did say that non-metal and non-metal are covalent bonds. You have to have partial charges. Now just know that across the nitrogen and the hydrogen, someone has a small tug, right? A small pull, and the other one doesn't really get it. But this comes from the property of electronegativity. If I quickly just draw the general, that's good. If I just quickly draw the general trend of electronegativity, just know that as we go across a period, we will increase in electronegativity, and as we go up, we also increase. So the highest electronegative elements would be in this corner, the lowest electronegative elements would be on the bottom left corner. And if I just know where nitrogen and hydrogen are, we can see who has the partial negative and who has the partial positive. Hydrogen's all the way over here, and nitrogen is somewhere over here. You increase from left to right, which means that nitrogen would be, or would have a higher electronegativity. The meaning is in the word. Negative. Anyone who has higher electronegativity would have the negative charge, the partial negative charge. And that's why nitrogen has a partial negative. Nitrogen would have this cute little symbol, these deltas, like a cute little S, partial negative. And then that means that hydrogen, being less electronegative, would be the partial positive. And that's it. Hopefully this helped. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so very much for, coming here, watching the video, learning from us. If you guys haven't already, I would highly recommend checking out our website, glazersguide.com. The link is in the description. It's a hop, step, and a jump over to the other website. All you got to do is just click the link, and we'll be there. My brother and I will be there every step of the way with videos, questions like this. We've made all these questions, by the way. So, yeah, we just want you guys to do well on your tests and quizzes, and that's it. That's really it. So come on down, and let's hang out. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.
For more practice and for more fun, go to glazersguide.com.
And for more practice and for more fun, come on, go to glazersguide.com.